I received a comment under one of my videos. Somebody wanted to know about a substance called Eria Jarensis. Uh, quite frankly, I had never heard of this stuff, and there's good reason, because in preparation for this video, I did what they call a literature search. I went all over the internet, into all the medical databases, to try and find some evidence, whether human or animal, whether this stuff has any effect at all, and I came out with flat zero. In other words, there's actually zero published evidence. I mean 0.00 that this stuff has any effect whatsoever. There's a lot of articles, however, about Eria Jarensis. You'll find them all over the internet, and these are what they call anecdotal evidence. In other words, that people just talking through their ass, basically, talking about how it affects brain neurotransmitters, and it affects this stuff called PEA. I'll get into that more in a minute. This is all basic hypothetical, because there's no evidence whatsoever that it does this in humans or animals. So I want to say that right from the start. As a matter of fact, I normally wouldn't even talk about this stuff. I wouldn't do a video on this stuff, because I don't like to do videos that are based entirely on animal evidence, for the simple fact that animal evidence doesn't always translate into human physiology. As a matter of fact, about 50% of the time or more, what occurs in a rat or another lab animal or a mouse doesn't happen in humans. Certain substances, for example, that'll cause cancer in mice or rats have no effect in humans, and vice versa. Rats, for example, utilize carbohydrates, glycogen, much differently than humans, yet a lot of people will quote studies on rats as evidence of glycogen use in humans, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that's another topic. I don't want to get off too much on a tangent here. So what my preface here, what I'm trying to say is, this will probably be a really short video, because there's not much to say about Eria Jarensis. I will tell you what they say, what they claim about this stuff. But again, keeping in mind the caveats I just mentioned, there's zero evidence. So if you use this in a supplement, you're just a human guinea pig, because nobody really knows what it's going to do. Nobody knows its effectiveness. And there's always the famous placebo effect, meaning if you think something's going to work at least 50% of the time, it will work when it's doing absolutely nothing, but your brain is causing you to think it works. It's a very powerful effect, and I suspect that this is the case with Eria Jarensis. Now, what is it? Those of you who are into supplements might be familiar with the fact that when it comes to bodybuilders and athletes, there's, as they said in that movie Top Gun, a need for speed. People are always seeking out different stimulants. They think it makes them work out harder. They think it gives them more mental focus and concentration. There's various reasons. And it's all started actually with actual speed. A lot of the bodybuilders years ago, I mean, it's not a matter of record, but I happen to know because I train with these guys. A lot of guys use methamphetamine and other forms of speed in preparation for a contest. When they were training for a contest, they did it for two reasons. They did it first because it gave them a tremendous workout intensity. It completely erased any feelings of fatigue, where they felt they can train for hours. And it also reduced the appetite to the extent that they were able to stay on any type of diet without getting hungry. Those were the reasons for using actual speed. Of course, actual speed has a lot of negatives. For one thing, it rots your brain. It causes brain destruction. It can cause a condition that looks exactly like schizophrenia. That's what happened to a famous bodybuilder whose name I won't mention here. He got into speed, and he showed symptoms that would be identical to what's called schizophrenic paranoia. He's not alive anymore, and I just don't want to bring his name up. He happened to be an old friend of mine. But, that shows you what speed can do. If you ever look at people who are speed freaks on the internet, they show photos of before and after. It's really scary, because I've seen photos of absolutely drop-dead beautiful women. They got on speed, and a couple of years later, they looked like they had aged about 50 years. They lost all their teeth, and all their beauty was gone. They looked ghastly looking. Don't take my word for it. Just look up photos of speed freaks on the internet, and you'll see. But that's speed drugs. You might say, well, what does that have to do with the supplements? Well, all these supplements do is mimic the effect of speed drugs. In other words, they're basically considered lesser degrees of methamphetamine but they kind of work kind of similarly. In other words, they produce similar effects, although not nearly as strong. But the main reason bodybuilders use it again is again for the stimulant effect. Hopefully, maybe it'll reduce your appetite, allow you to stay in a diet, and mainly because it supposedly increases training energy and focus. Of course, the most famous, if you want to call it natural, stimulant was ephedrine, which was used for many, many years. It's derived from a Chinese herb called mawang, and it really worked. I used it myself. It actually was a bronchodilator used in medical. It opened up the bronchial tubes. It was one of the original asthma medications, first developed in the 1920s for that purpose. It was actually pretty safe if you used it within, within, let's say, certain guidelines, within a certain narrow window of therapeutics, let's say, which came out to be anywhere from 25, maybe 30 milligrams of ephedrine. Usually you had no problems. However, if you had pre-existing problems such as heart disease, high blood pressure, prostate problems, that kind of thing, ephedrine could be a problem because one of the ways it worked is that it increased catecholamines. Catecholamines is stuff like norepinephrine and dopamine and epinephrine. And these things, they do a number of things I'm not going to get into here, but they also tend to stimulate the brain, especially dopamine. And ephedrine was able to do that. And unfortunately, these catecholamines have what they call a pressor effect. They tend to constrict the arteries. Now, if you're normal and you have no problem, you don't have high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, there's no problem. However, if you had a pre-existing disease and you took large doses, not the normal dose, large doses of ephedrine, it could theoretically push you into a heart attack or stroke, but that was exceedingly rare. Now, what happened was ephedrine was eventually removed from the market sales by the Food and Drug Administration back in 2004, ostensibly because of a number of call-in or complaints about people that had severe side effects. Now, I investigated this a couple of years ago for an article, and I found that nearly all of the so-called side effects that were reported side effects turned out to be bull. It was just nonsense, and it just wasn't true. Or a secondary effect would be people that, again, had pre-existing illnesses where they shouldn't have been taking ephedrine at all, such as existing heart disease or high blood pressure. They took it anyway, and not only did they take it, but they took it in excessive dosages, which pushed them into having blood pressure high enough to cause a stroke. Now, that was just pure stupidity. But I believe that, and this was shown in later studies, if ephedrine is taken in normal dosages, it's actually a pretty safe compound. However, it was still removed by the FDA in 2004. By that time, bodybuilders were used to the stimulation effect, and they craved. A lot of bodybuilders felt that they couldn't even train unless they had some sort of stimulant effect. So they came out with these pre-workout products, and a lot of them contained various kinds of stimulants. I'm not going to get into all of them. There was stuff like DMAA, which some studies said was as safe as coffee, but apparently, again, it came out to some misuse where a couple of people, especially in the military, supposedly got strokes from using it. Then there was ATP citrate, which was immediately removed from the market. I can go on and on. I'm not going to go into a complete list of the various stimulants that have been introduced and then removed. The point being that they were never quite as safe as supplement manufacturers tried to portray them as. So now we come to this stuff called Eria Jarensis. Eria Jarensis is basically they're trying to push it as a successor to DMAA. DMAA did actually provide stimulant effects. However, like I say, it had a narrow therapeutic window where some people, because of, let's say, idiosyncratic medical problems, could have some severe medical problems, especially if they, a lot of bodybuilders, they think if one scoop is good, 3 is better. And the same with steroids. If 2 pills are good, I'll take 10. If 1,000 milligrams is good, I'll take 50. That's where you run into problems. If you stay within a safe range, you're probably okay with most things. But there's always the principle of hormesis, meaning a certain amount of a substance will provide beneficial therapeutic effects. Once you get past a certain point, it becomes a U-shaped curve where it becomes toxic. And that applies to a lot of things, including some of these supplement ingredients. Now, as far as Eria Jarensis, it's the chemical name is N-phenyl dimethylamine. It's considered, again, according to the literature that appears on the internet, It's classified as a neuromodulator on the central nervous system and produces several mental effects. I'm quoting these articles, including powerful focus, energy, and even an increase in mood. N-phenyldimethamine, which has been shown to increase the concentration of noradrenaline or norepinephrine in the body, which would, of course, stimulate the brain. Eria Jarensis itself is an orchid species local to countries such as China and Southeast Asia. A lot of the articles, again, these articles are planted on the internet by companies that sell products that contain Eria Jarensis. So there's an axe to grind, there's an ulterior motive. They want to sell you the product. So they use stuff like that. Because there's no research to back this stuff up, they'll point to like the whole research from the World Health Organization, which lists Eria Jarensis as a GRAS, generally regarded as safe additive for foods as a flavoring agent. In other words, because it's used in foods, the implication is that it's safe. But here's the problem. The amount used in foods is infinitesimal. It's tiny, tiny. Doesn't come close to the amount that's added into supplements. So that's a bold-faced misrepresentation and lie on the part of the supplement people or the people that write this garbage that's on the internet. Again, it supposedly causes increase in catecholamines, norepinephrine, dopamine. When these hormones are increased in the body, again, the user will have a sense of alertness, focus, and concentration, which is true. When dopamine and norepinephrine go up, you do have an increased focus, concentration, and you feel a little speedy. It's true. It's the definite brain stimulants. Eria Jarensis extract has been shown, and here's the part that really made me laugh. This is almost pathetic. I mean, if I wasn't asked to do, I'm trying to be nice and do this video, but all my senses tell me I shouldn't, because it's such a stupid supplement or stupid ingredient. I mean, the greed of these supplement companies is amazing to me. They'll push anything as effective. This stuff has what they call a half-life, meaning the time it takes for half to break down the initial half-life refers to the time it takes for the body to break down 50% of the initial dose. The half-life is 5 to 10 minutes. So this stuff is in and out. And what happens is an enzyme called monoamine oxidase, which is the same enzyme that breaks down the catecholamines like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine, also break down this stuff. And this stuff gets broken down even faster than the natural neuromodulators in the body. Like this stuff is like a whip. It's in and out. It's gone. So it's not going to give you much of a stimulant effect anyway. This stuff is nonsensical. It's a joke. I mean, they're just putting in the supplement because they want to fulfill the demand for the people that like Ephedrine, that like DMAA, and other supplements. They know there's a market for it, so they want to put it in there to continue to make money. This stuff is cheap junk, and they sell it for God knows how much. I don't know. I don't know the prices of this stuff because I don't even look at these supplements. It has an aroma of like, according to what I've read, it has a sweet, fishy aroma, and it's like I said, it's used in some foods, cereals, cheese, dairy products, fish, fruit, and meat as an additive. Again, small amounts, very small amounts. That, oh, for Christ's sake, very small amounts. So that's I know the video just cut out, so I'm sorry about that. I stopped talking when it was cut out, so you didn't miss anything. I'm ready to wrap this up anyway because there's not much more to say about it. Really, there's nothing to say about this stuff. I mean, like I said, I think I've said about all. I think it's garbage. I think it's a waste of time. And again, the two things to remember about it is there's zero research on it. There's no animal research. There's no human research. There's no proof of efficacy whatsoever. It's just another attempt by supplement purveyors to get your money because they know there's a big eagerness to have, let's say, stimulants, pre-workout stimulants. This is just a way to tie into your dollars. That's all it is. That's all I'm going to say about this stuff. So that's about it. If you want, again, I'm telling the truth because I'm not associated with any supplement company. I mean, you're not going to hear this from the people selling this stuff. They're gonna say that I'm full of crap and I don't know what I'm talking about. But go ahead, don't take my word for it. Go ahead and search for yourself. The more intelligent people out there who know how to do searches, search on any. I challenge you. Go to any medical database, PubMed, and see what you can find on this stuff. You'll find nothing, absolutely nothing. No animal, no human, and it's in and out of the body. It's useless garbage. If you want more information and truthful information about nutrition, exercise science, ergogenic aids, anti-aging research you can use today, fat loss techniques that really work, women's health and fitness, hormonal therapy, many other topics. No other digital publication covers as many topics as I do. And Applied Metabolics. Subscribe today at appliedmetabolics.com, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I put new information on nutrition, exercise science, general medicine. However, subscribers, once you subscribe, send me an invitation to join my regular Facebook page, because Facebook recently changed their policy, and I can only add people to my private Facebook group if you're already on my regular Facebook membership. It's stupid, but that's Facebook. There's nothing I can do about it. You're welcome to leave comments under this video, suggestions for future videos. Like I said, I did this video because somebody asked me to do a video on it. Again, all my instincts were to say, when I looked at the research, there's nothing to say. But I told you whatever I could say about it. That's all I could say about this stuff. But you're welcome to leave comments. Like I said, subscribers are welcome to send me short questions about anything they've read in Applied Metabolics, or any short questions about anything else at the email portal on my Applied Metabolics site. I don't answer, or I don't respond to unsolicited questions or emails or comments on the under the video. I very, very rarely can respond. I don't have the time. That's about it. If you want to have the best fun you ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. They're the best. And you know what? Keep away from these crappy stimulants. Ephedrine was good. I mean, if you get a hold of ephedrine and use it in the normal amounts, like I say, 20, 25 milligrams, it's fine. It works. Or just stick with the best natural stimulant, coffee, caffeine. Always gets me going. I take like 3 or 4 cups before I train. Boom, I'm stimulated. I'm ready to go. Takes away all my fatigue. You'll be safe. I mean, all this stuff, there's not enough research there's no long-term research on any of this stuff to indicate that it might not cause a problem up the line. I know a lot of people won't listen to me. They want that need for speed crap. But you know what? It's your life. You can do whatever you want with it. Take care. Good luck.